Now we've seen how intelligence can be measured. So let's take a look at the different forms that intelligence can actually take. So as we saw at the beginning of this chapter, a lot of things could be described as intelligence. Some psychologists focus on someone's overall ability, whereas others focus on a particular ability like math or verbal reasoning. So one of the first psychologists who tried to clearly define intelligence was this guy named Charles Spearman, who believed that intelligence was this single general ability that allows people to perform a variety of intelligent behaviors. So he developed Spearman's G, which is a measure of an individual's overall intelligence. Now, general intelligence can be broken down into two different parts. So general is an overall measure of intelligence. Fluid intelligence is the part of general that is the ability to think logically without using learned knowledge. So this is a very fine distinction. So let's hammer this in. So this is things that you didn't have to learn in school, things that people did not have to teach you. This is you figuring it out, teaching yourself, creating something new, and kind of figuring out stuff on your own. It tends to peak in young adulthood. The other type is the opposite of this. Crystallized intelligence is the ability to think logically using specific knowledge that you learned. So this is coming from schooling, things that you watch. We talked about the learning lecture a few lectures ago. So anything that maybe you learned through observation, someone else doing, any capacity that you learned in school, the ability to use that information that you didn't already have or weren't able to figure out on your own to then apply and think critically about something. And this is pretty stable throughout adulthood. Since those seem kind of vague as definitions, let's put some examples to it. So you can kind of think of fluid intelligence maybe like your working or your short-term memory. So someone who has amnesia, so maybe like HM who had, I think, anterograde amnesia, would still have fluid intelligence. You can still work with things without using learned knowledge. So this might be things like navigating a grocery store. No one has to teach you what items exist in what aisle or how to walk through a store. You can kind of figure it out, right? This might be true too if you've ever navigated in an airport. So you're able to kind of look at signs, figure out what directions you have to go. No one teaches you and says, all right, Heather, you're gonna go into an airport. First, I want you to learn that you're gonna go up these stairs, you're gonna turn left at this light, you're gonna, whatever. People don't teach you the steps, you figure out the steps when you get there based off signs. Someone with, working memory or someone with amnesia would still be able to do that because that's a working memory task. And then similar to the types of IQ questions we just talked about, it's a pattern recognition type question. You don't need any sort of schooling or prior skill to do this. You can figure it out. So fluid, figure it out is the way that I kind of remember it. Whereas crystallized might be thought of more as like the long-term memory type of abilities. So things like any sort of Wikipedia knowledge, things you might learn, like facts, information about things. This might be like how to drive a car. Someone needs to teach you the different buttons and steps and things to press. And also like that test question that we had that was like mathematical abilities. Someone has to teach you how to add, subtract, divide numbers. You're not going to just figure this out. So crystallized intelligence is a lot of learning. It's a lot of semantic knowledge. It's a lot of procedural knowledge, things that you typically need to learn to pick up. Whereas fluid is more of the working memory, things you don't need long-term for.